Hey everybody, this is Kevin again, of course, kevinmcraft.com. I want to thank you for coming to view this interview I'm going to be having with Peter Okonkwo, poet in Nigeria. He is a fatalistic writer, author, editor, entrepreneur, poet, soon-to-be novelist, and a certified orator from the Friendship Leadership Institute of Nigeria. Peter is the author of 3 poetry collections: Ecstasy of the Dead, Fate in the Dungeon of Doom, and Whose Fault, Kismet or Impediment. His works have been surveyed as one that run the gamut of emotions, religion, undercuts, the afterlife, mysteries of the human fate, occasionally coming across quite wistful, melancholy, or in other instances, very positive and thought-provoking. Peter is the host of P English Literature, a YouTube channel where he reviews books and conducts interviews with authors around the world. And he's also one of my ardent supporters. So I'm pleased to be able to speak with him face to face for the first time since we became acquainted about 3 years ago, I think. Anyway, I want to remind you that you can visit kevinmcraft.com for all things Kevin M. Craft, including these interviews. Check out as we are adding new features and new content. I'm going to be redesigning the website pretty soon as well, and opening up a new line for young readers or young at heart readers, which I think that you'll enjoy as well. So anyway, we're going to pause. I'm going to wait for Peter to arrive so we can talk. All right, and here is Peter Okonkwo, my friend Peter. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very fine. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. It's nice to finally see you and talk to you face to face through the miracle of modern technology.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. For those of you tuning in, Peter and I, we've been friends for what? Has it been 4 years?
Yeah, I think three years thereabouts.
Yeah,
I think it's
okay. Yeah, and Peter is one of my ardent supporters, which I appreciate. He's one of my beta readers as well, so his input has always been invaluable. So it's great. This is the first time actually seeing each other, I think, and talking face to face. So that's great indication. So,
yeah.
thank you for being with us today.
So yeah, and I appreciate you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So Peter, you are, would you say you're primarily a poet first and foremost?
Yeah, I would love to use I think I would love to use the word poet because most of the books I've written so far are poetry, though I'm working on my first novel. So I think going with the name poet sounds nice.
Sounds good. Well, tell us.
Right.
Yeah. Now, how did you start writing poetry? Is this something that you did from childhood, or is this something you picked up later?
I think it should be. I started writing, I think 3 years ago. I'm not sure it's 3 years ago anyway, but I remember it's September 2019. That was the time I started writing. Okay. That was the time I started writing poems. And at that time, I write short books, short poems, and the ones I post to my social media and all of that. And, the engagement of people reading it and getting feedback. And someone told me that, I think your works are powerful. Have you ever thought of producing a book? And that's why I said, okay, I think that would be a nice, method. And from there, I started compiling my works together. That's why I have my first book, Ecstasy of the Dead. Though I'm not with it currently, is at home, but I'm with my other books here.
Yeah,
Fate,
yes.
And wistful. And this is one of the books you provided a forward for. Okay. And I need to appreciate that. So writing, it's something that I think I started way back 2019, September. And I've been enjoying the move so far. So it's not something that I've been doing when I was much younger, but it just started and I just found myself that, I have a sudden love and likeness for poetry.
Okay. So how did this just occur to you to start writing? Was there something that inspired you to start writing poetry?
Yes. Something actually inspired me to start writing.
Okay, talk about that.
you know, everybody have their own experiences and probably something that's personal or something you've seen around you. And, it costs you to want to put down your word and pour down your emotions. And, I would like call it, I think my first written poem was titled Patient, because something actually happened to me, which I would really love to go deep into. And I think I wasn't patient enough. It's like a life experience. And I thought, okay, I think if I was patient enough, then this thing wouldn't have happened to me. If I was patient enough, I wouldn't have fallen inside this trap or be a victim. So then I just sit down and I started writing about patient. I think the poem is inside my first book, Ecstasy of the Dead. So I think it's about my experience. And from there, I began to diversify it. I began to enlarge my coast. I began to start writing on several other themes relating to the government situation in Nigeria, with the things I've seen around me, humanity and all of that. So, it just started that way, and I really love it.
That's great. That's great. So when you started writing, did you find that it came easy for you, or did you kind of struggle to learn how to? So from when I read of your poetry, it seems like it comes really naturally to you. Just because of the scope with which you write is pretty impressive. So that was my impression. But you tell me if I'm wrong.
That's actually true. And most of the people that have actually read the book, read any of my works, like, wow, I love the way you write. And someone told me once, I said, no, Peter Okonkwo is a talented wordsmith who is wise beyond his years. And I was like, okay, thank you so much for that.
That's a great compliment.
It makes me feel good anyway. But I was like, okay, thank you so much. But what I can say is that, like I've heard also, because, once you write something and you get feedback from people, it's a better way to know how well that thing is.
True.
And I've heard people tell me, well, your works are raw, they are emotional, they are strong, they are heartfelt, they are pathetic, and you can feel it. And some told me that it's resonating in nature. Like someone told me, oh, Peter, I read Fate in the Legion of Doom. And, most of the thing you wrote there is as if you're talking to me. It's about my life. And I was like, really? That's the kind of thing that I really love, like a sort of feedback from people.
Indeed.
And writing it is actually something that's easy. It's pretty much easy for me to write poem. I can be sitting down and, it actually come like an inspiration, like a voice. And I'll hear the voice speaking to my ear. Okay, pick up your pen and start writing. And the words keep flowing to my head. And I just keep writing it down. So I can be walking on the street side or in the room or anywhere, and the inspiration just sucks my mind. Most time I can be bathing in the bedroom and it comes to my mind. I wouldn't mind living there and go inside and quickly and drop it down because it might fly away. So all of those things is how the inspiration comes to me. And it's actually come pretty easy. The most of this comes where I'm very emotional, like when I have some emotion going on, because that's one thing I can say my works is actually characterized with. It has a lot of emotion installed in it. And that's the way I actually get my inspiration. It comes easily to me. Though, apart from the fact that if I want to write based on a particular subject, that would require me to make some research or get some backgrounds, fact. That's when those ones can be a little bit tedious for me. But the ones that come naturally to me, the emotional ones, the ones that are quite empathetic, heartfelt, and you can feel the reading and feel the words, like these words are hard, they are powerful. Those ones come pretty easy to me.
It's definitely powerful words, I have to say. I'm not a poetry expert, but when I read your poetry, when you sent it to me, I was like, wow, that is one deep mind. That was really powerful words, and your imagery, everything was just like, wow, this is incredible. So yeah, I was impressed. I really am. Tell us, how did your first book? Which one was your first book? Was that The Ecstasy of the Dead?
Yeah, Ecstasy of the Dead.
Okay. How did that come about? Did that come about Was that kind of these kind of a theme followed with the poems, or were they just a collection of poems that you amassed and then just put them together?
It's actually a collection of different poems. I do not have a particular theme that I wrote about on the book. Like it's like unlike my other books, this one and this one, they have a particular subject they are talking about that most of the poems are centered on. Okay. But Ecstasy of the Dead is centered on different sort of collections of different sort of poems with different themes, with different titles, with different subjects, all illustrated in it. Though from there, I have the poems of Kwame. Some part of the book asks the poems of Kwame, but it was written in a scattered format, unlike it's arranged in Fate in the Dungeon of Doom. So Ecstasy of the Dead is actually a collection of deep poetry on the themes of love, betrayals, fate, obstacles, etc. But different, even love, different sort of theme. There's no particular theme that I've spoken about in the book, even though it doesn't center on a particular subject, but readers can find most of the poems speaking to them because I oscillate between different titles that I cannot really grab and start talking about. So Ecstasy of the Dead is actually a poem, grant-based poem on different sort of subjects that I've illustrated in it.
Okay, all right, great. Talk a bit about Fate in the Dungeon of Doom and some of the themes centering there.
Yeah, this is in the Dungeon of Doom for viewers who would like to get a copy. So this book actually, it's a collection of wonderful poems, very deep, though it's divided into 3 sections. The first part is the poems of fate, which is intrinsically centered on the topic of fate, of destiny, taking a bit into the philosophical idea, though based on my personal opinion or introspection, because some people can read it and say, oh, I don't agree with that point about fate. Well, it's my opinion, it's my perception of the title. Because I've had someone said, I don't like it. And I was like, okay, you don't like it probably because you're an artist, because an artist doesn't like talking about fate. So here, the first part talk about the poems of fate, and the second part talk about the poems of Kwame, and the third part talk about other poems. In the first section, I seek to talk about the difference I see between human fate and destiny. Now, I was trying to take a deep look because I love thinking a lot. I'm a very deep thinker. And I've been thinking about what is fate? What do we call fate? Okay, who makes fate? Like, what is the making of fate? Do we have the power to control it? Okay, even if we have the power to control it, is our day-to-day life activities incongruous with our fate? And I was asking a lot of questions because I see most people die in tragic situation. And I'll be like, okay, they've died in tragic situation. Is it their fate that made them die? So, I just love asking some deep introspective question. And that's why I come with the idea of this fate. And in the book, I was asking a lot of gnarly questions. If fate is the making of a man, if a man has power to control his own fate, or it's an anonymous destination, and if fate itself is a force, or it's a matter that is controlled by God, or some sort of external forces, which human beings do not really know in depth. So all of these questions are what I seek to answer. Though I didn't ask them because I just ask the question and leave the reader to keep thinking, deriving answers for themselves. So I looked deep into the aspect of fate, into the aspect of destiny, how it relates to our lives, and if we have the power to control it or not. And this part of the poem is actually somewhat, emotional. It's somewhat tragic because based on the theme or based on the tone of the narrator in this first section, it is very lamenting. It's like the person is seeking to know answers to this because it doesn't have a good fate. So in the second section of Fate in the Dungeon of Doom, I talk about the poems of Kwame. And the story of Kwame is a story of a young Nigerian man who has gone missing, and the aftermath of his family members on his missing, because they've been looking for him for over a year. And his mother, Vanessa, and his younger brother, Etean, have been, crying, they've been praying, they've gone through a lot trying to get him back. And one of the things I'd love to say about the book is the tragedy of Vanessa, because Vanessa is actually the mother. And a real mother wouldn't sit down and watch a sun disappear without taking any action. It's not possible. So I can feel the pain of Vanessa in the book. I love to talk about the pain of Vanessa. Vanessa used to be a strong woman who is a Christian. So based on the disappearance of his son, the son actually just went disappear because though there's an in-depth reason on how Kohame got mixing, but I'd love the viewers to want to read. But I would love to talk about the pain of Vanessa in the aspect that Vanessa is a Christian, but the disappearance of Kohame had caused her to seek, the opinion of seers, to see the opinion of voodoo man, spiritualists, to see the opinions of people who can see the future of someone in a glance. And, all of this is actually, not incongruous with our tradition, with our religion, but she's despondent, she's frustrated. She has been ridiculed by a lot of people, and she has done things possible in her mind to get her son back. Sometimes she paid some fake prophet who proclaimed that, okay, they can see and pray. And someone, I think in one of the poems, someone told her that, okay, your son is going to arrive in so date. So she was anxious enough to see a long missing son. And she waited. She didn't see him. So all of this part is delved into African spirituality, into the problem that Kohame himself undergoes, which added a bit of, emotion, saddening emotion, entreaty, lamentation, and all of that to the story of Kohame. And the third part, which are other poems, has to do with a collection of different varieties of poem with different titles, different themes that I'm very sure the readers are going to find pleasure at.
Very good. That's fascinating. It really is. I remember reading that story, and I was like, man, I have to learn more about this, about these people. And it's actually a historical thing. So very, very good. And your third book, that was Whose Fault? Kismet. Yeah. Tell us about that one.
Kismet or Impediment. Okay, following on from my moose on the philosophical concept of human fate and destiny, then I sat down and I was like, okay, how about obstacles? How about human obstacles? Because everyone who has ever lived on earth has experienced obstacles in one or many areas of their life. Everyone, irrespective of how good your life is, or irrespective of how successful you are, everyone on earth has experienced obstacles. So I was trying to ask if, what role do obstacles come to play in our lives? Is it the making of fate itself, or it's the making of God himself, or obstacles is a force that we need to wrestle at with prayers? So, following on from my moves on the philosophical concept of human fate, then I come back and start talking about obstacles. What role does it have to play in our lives? Obstacles is a very hard thing. It's a difficult thing, and we all pray against it. Everybody wants a life that is smooth, a life that is free of delay, a life that is free of hindrances. And we want a life to, keep going on with joy and expectation, realization to all of our desires. But what happens to man when they are beset with chronic obstacles? So I just think that, to my own personal opinion, I think all of this subject I'm exploring on, like someone told me that, your works are like that of an old man who is an 100 years old, because he said, you're very young, but you're very talented and very deep to talk about these difficult issues. And I was like, I think it's about talent, because sometimes when I read the poems, I'm like, really, Peter? Did you wrote that? That is very hard. I'm like, I wrote that. I think recently I was checking the book and I was like, wow, I'm a fantastic thing. I was like, God, thank you so much for this wonderful inspiration.
There you go.
Yeah, I was trying to, demystify the realness of the human fate amidst obstacles. I was trying to know if obstacles and fate works together. And the first part of the book talks about the poems of obstacles. Here we have a lot of works a lot of poems written to expound on the theme of obstacles.
Mhm.
It's divided into section. The first part is the poems of obstacles, and the second part is other poems. The poems of obstacles take, I think, mostly 80% of the book. So it's talking about obstacles, obstacles, obstacles. What role does it have to come to play in a life? Who is the making of obstacles? Is it a force, or it's something that we need to wrestle hard in prayer? And all of these questions are what I've seek to ask in whose fault the impediment. Though in the fox aspect, it has a tone that is, somewhat hard, like Fate in the Dungeon of Doom. You can feel the emotion because according to the tone of the narrator here, it's written in the fox person point of view. That's with a lot of eyes, a lot of me, a lot of eyes. And I make it so raw that I was asking the question directly, like the author is speaking. So it's very hard, and it's expound on the theme of, human obstacles. It moved into pensive examination of, the realness between use, thought, and. So I think I would love to read. Just give me some minutes. Let me read some part here.
Sure. Yeah. I was going to ask you to.
So, I was like, it's a sad reality that most people who have suffered from chronic obstacles scarcely live to tell the story. Then some, due to the awful and soul-wrenching havoc that impediment had imposed in their life, made them commit suicide and often die without accomplishing their fate. Most people are faced with obstacles. Most people committed suicide and they were like, oh, I think I'm tired of this life. And they just go and kill themselves. So I move forward and say, I'm actually reading from the author section. Okay. Then I was like, it's a known fact that every human being has experienced obstacles in one or many areas of their life, but might lack the certain foresight to discern the mission or reason of this unseen force that leaves them in a state of retardation and or emotional malady. This in turn begs some questions. What role has obstacle come to play in the life of a man? Who should be blamed when a man languishes in abject obstacles? Is it the making of fate itself, or God authentically made it so, or the victim needs to wrestle with the invincible force of obstacles? So I went further saying that although an attempt to demystify the relationship between human fate and obstacles would result in some philosophical debate and inspection, which might often leave a man's palm on his chin as he endlessly searches for wisdom. Then I was like, whose fault? Kismet or impediment is a pathos, highly introspective, lamenting, and pensive examination of the realness of the human destiny amidst obstacles. It delves into the pain of a miserable narrator who yearns with an agony that arouses empathy as he attempts to lay blame by his unruly, difficult, and disturbing questions, with qualities capable of offering relief to the dejected souls and hope to those who languish in what may be called severe obstacles. So this book offers a tenet of optimism, perceived breakthrough to those who might have experienced stagnation, rejection, countless failures, and have probably questioned the actuality of their destiny and various circumstances. You may cry. I love this ending part. You may cry or get to the verge of tears, but definitely no regret. So
nice.
all of this is what I have in this fantastic book, and I really love this book. I really love this book. So I'm working on another section, which I'm going to talk about the obstacles that precedes fate. I think that's going to be my poetry collection.
Excellent.
When that come out, I'm going to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely keep me informed with that. I'd like to read that one. So, Now you are working on a novel, as I understand.
Yeah.
Right? Can you tell us, without giving away too much information, can you tell us a little bit about that? What's the genre? What's the subject?
Okay, it's titled Etean's Destiny, and Etean's Destiny is actually a story of a young man who struggled with educational attainment. It's actually a story of this, I think a young Nigerian man and his struggle with educational attainment. This is a boy or a lad that loves education. He knows that he's going to survive on heart with education. It could fuel it, but there are lots of obstacles that comes his way. There are lots of problems that he baffles with in terms of gaining, financial, ability, in terms of his family background, because it actually comes from a poor family background.
Okay.
And in terms of other things that comes in line. So the book rather, it's a novel. I think it's very vast. It's gonna be very huge book, probably around 400 pages. I don't know about, because the story is very extensive. And I'm looking forward that it's gonna be a nice novel for even movie production, because it's not only talking about a particular protagonist. Actually, Etean is a protagonist in the novel, but there are other people that serve like another protagonist, talking about people like Shibuike and talking about character like Kohame, because I actually have the story of Kohame, reflecting itself, a continuation of Kohame's story, expound in Etean's destiny. Because Etean is the younger brother of Kohame. So now I'm talking about Etean's destiny, and the story of Kohame actually come in. So Etean's destiny, it's a book that I've been working on since September 2019. I've been writing it. It's over 2 years now, and I'm still at chapter 8.
Okay.
Pretty hard. I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I've been on it for years now, and I'm looking forward to just sit on it and start writing it, continue. Though writing a novel is somewhat hard, but I've been loving it anyway, and I can't wait to get it out. So that's a tip of what I have in Etean's destiny.
Excellent. That sounds very interesting as well. Tell us about your writing process. Do you have a process or a particular way that you actually put your thoughts down or write? Do you set a certain time to do it, or do you just do it kind of in fits and starts?
I actually do not have a process. I think if I have a process, I would have finished Etean's destiny for this long, because I'm seeing it as if this book is taking slow, and I'm still at chapter 8, and I still have a lot of story to tell. It's a long way, it's a long journey. But I think when it comes to poetry, I don't have a particular writing process. It just comes to me unaware. I can be in the church and I get the inspiration. And thank God, anywhere I'm going to, I always go with my pen and my paper, or with my phone. As the thing keep coming to me, I can just keep typing it down and work on it later, refine it, rewrite it to make it fit and nice. So it just comes to me anyhow, and I keep writing. But recently, I think I'm working on a poetry book that I wanted to release by July. That's my birthday. And I was like, okay, Peter, you need to work on this. Like 4 months time to go. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit very hard on this. Though I've been writing it, I have it in some journals and in some part of my laptop, I need to compile them together to start making a book. So I don't have a particular writing process. If I had a process, I think someone told me that I should have a calendar, like a process, like this when I'm gonna write, it would help me. Because some people said, okay, they write 1,000 words in a day. Some say they write 1,500 words in a day. And I'm like, how do you do that? Apart from writing reviews, because that's what I think I write every day. I write reviews every day. I'll be like, how did you do that writing 1,500? So I think I just have to get the time to sit down. And once I have a pool, a force of inspiration coming to me, that's when I sit down, eat mostly, and said, okay, I need to finish this work. I need to pen the thing down. So that's it. That's my writing process.
I understand. Yeah, I'm similar. I write similarly. I don't really have a process. I'm trying to develop one now, just because I think I might benefit from that. But right now, I kind of write just as I'm inspired to. Sometimes I'll write in a rush, and other times it'll come in slow drips, and I'll finally get something down. So it's different each time. But well, great. Now you do a lot of reading too, because you have your English literature YouTube channel where you review books from all over the world. So are you a fast reader? Do you read a lot of books at once, or how do you read and write and find time to write?
Yes, I basically read 10 books in a month. That's around sometimes 2 in a week, sometimes 3, depending on how voluminous it is, because reading book actually depends on the volume. If it's around 400 to 500 or 300, it might take me 8 books in a month. But if it's short read of 150 pages, 200 pages, it might just take me some few days, like a day or two. So that's it, and I've been on the look at the growth of the channel so far. Recently, I've been having a lot of views, and I'm just excited. I don't know how to do some, but I think you should be stepping me in recording my videos, and I think that's so I basically think I have been expected recently I'm working to edit, I'm starting to so I'm game books to read. I think much now. So folks seems to be I'm looking for books in the shop, and also say after and it's something about reading book. So that really so far. It's very, very good.
Hey, Peter, we're getting a lot of, it's like there's something going on with the signal. You're breaking up really bad. I'm only catching bits of words here and there, and it's kind of breaking
Is
up.
it fine now?
Say again. I think it's getting better.
Is it getting better?
I didn't catch that. What did you say?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah, you're back. Yeah, for a while, everything was getting all jumbled and chopped up. So
It's the network.
It's happening. Wait a minute. It's happening again. Yeah, it's happening again. It's happening again. We're starting to break up again. Well, we were doing good there for a while.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Try it again. See if we can.
The network is going to ring, so the network is getting fluctuated.
There we go. There we go. I think I got you back. I got you back.
We have a bad network in Nigeria.
Yep, we got it. We got it back. Good. Okay. All right.
We got a bad network in Nigeria.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But okay, I can understand you now. I can understand you now. So we're back. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna say book experience again. But I just want to say that we have a bad network in Nigeria.
No, that's all right. I heard a little bit about when you were talking about your reading and writing and how you accomplished the two. Tell us a little bit about. Tell us a little bit about. I think I know now. I know some poets that I know do like readings in clubs and that kind of stuff. Have you ever done live readings with your poetry?
Oh no, I haven't done that. But I think I attended in time past. I attended a poetry program here in my state, and I was privileged to read some part of my poetry, and I read to them "Wait," a poem titled "Wait." But apart from that, I got the opportunity to read in the live section. Apart from people inviting me for interviews on YouTube, which I have a lot there, and all of that. So I haven't really gotten live section recital from stage and around. So that's nice of that.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, excellent. Well, is there any place that people can look online to either? Well, now you know your books are available at Amazon, of course. Do you have a personal website?
Oh no, I don't have a personal website. So my books are only available on Amazon for now.
Okay.
And here's the second book, Fate of Doom, available on Amazon. It's Kismet, Impediment, available on Amazon. with the type of my name, Peter Okonkwo, it will bring out all my books. So
Okay.
people can just go there and check it out. I also love to use this medium and opportunity to invite the readers, the viewers rather, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, P
Yes.
English Literature.
Yes.
So that's where you have a group of my channel, my books, and all I have to do in the literary scene.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'll definitely put the links to both of those things in the description of the video when we post it. And yeah, I encourage everyone to visit your YouTube channel and to check out your books. Excellent poetry, especially if you love poets. Peter is extraordinary.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Peter, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me about your work and what you do. It's great to talk to you. It's great to talk to you face to face and everything.
Yeah.
That's great. We'll have to do this again, okay? And I pray that, and I hope
Sure.
keep me informed about your progress, and I'll definitely keep you informed about mine, and we will connect again.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time, inviting me on your channel and the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure, Peter. Great talking with you. Okay. All right, everybody, check out Peter. Check out Peter. I'll leave links in the description. Peter Okonkwo, poet extraordinaire, among other things. All right. We'll see you back here for another interview next time. Just keep it at kevinmcraft.com for everything Kevin M. Craft. And we have some great interviews coming up. And so check me out there. All right. Thanks again, Peter. God bless you, sir.
Yeah. Goodbye. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.